Two, did you know that I only do negative videos? Little known fact about me. Maybe you've never noticed, but if you look back at all the videos I've ever done, I've only ever done negative ones. It's true. No. As always, I criticize Nintendo because I care so very much about them, and it would feel wrong to turn a blind eye to the kind of stuff that they do sometimes. And really, at the end of the day, if I have a very strong opinion about something, I will want to make a video about it, whether it's positive or negative. And sometimes I've talked about this, there just happen to be sort of a string of negative things that all happen kind of in a row. So I make videos like this, but it's important to me. It feels really important to me. I would rather be seen as too harsh a critic than too soft a critic. You know what I mean? I'd rather be seen as someone who complains and criticizes them too much versus somebody who seems to just be in their pocket and, not paying attention to any of the bad stuff that they do. You know what I mean? Whatever, let's move on. Okay, so Animal Crossing. Stuff has been coming out about how save data is going to work on Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's coming from a lot of different kinds of sources. You got like box arts in different languages and the website and all this stuff. And it's been kind of painting a picture of how save data is going to work. And it is not a good picture. Honestly, I feel like it's been the hype for Animal Crossing is huge, and it's gonna be huge, and everyone's gonna love it, but at least over the last few days, it feels like that hype has been dampered a little bit from all of this, and that's just how kind of lame this stuff is that, like, even with the giant hype machine that is New Horizons, this has still been enough to make it like, oh, that's disappointing. So the first issue is that there is only going to be one town allowed per Switch. It doesn't matter how many different profiles you have, different profiles are not going to have different towns. They will have different characters and probably inventories and whatnot, but you will all be sharing a town pretty much no matter what. I think this is ridiculous. It's an absolutely ridiculous limitation. Many people will be very, very quick to say, isn't that how it's always been? And the answer to that is, no, it's really, really not. On the 3DS and DS games, the saves were tied to the game itself, so multiple people in one household could theoretically buy multiple copies of the game to have different towns. That was very much an option. On the original GameCube one, you could swap out memory cards. If you had enough cards, you could have as many towns as you possibly wanted. There was always the option that was there. On the Wii, I'm not 100% sure. It might have been just one town per system, but I didn't dig into that. Point is, though, even if it had always been that way, even if every single one had been that way, there was no way to swap saves or anything, that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean that it's a good idea. The whole thing is like, well, maybe Nintendo wants to encourage the multiplayer, the community thing. They want people to play together in a town, and it's like, okay, I kind of get that, but like, you can't so strictly dictate exactly how we're gonna have fun with your game. You know what I mean? Like, it's their job to provide the game and not force us to enjoy it a certain way if that is not a way that we want to. This was happening, years ago before they started to embrace online play. People were begging for online modes on some of their games, and they'd be like, no, it's supposed to be a couch multiplayer game. We think couch multiplayer is more important than anything. But it's like, that's not your decision. You know what I mean? Like, that's on us to decide. Some people don't have that option. Anyway, so I think that the one per Switch thing, it's a limitation that is, it's purely manufactured, and it starts to kind of feel like they just want to get more people to buy multiple. They don't want one house to have one Switch. They want the people to buy multiple Switches, and this just seems like kind of a yucky sort of way to encourage that. That's the way it comes off. Maybe they really do just want us playing together, but that's kind of how it feels. Next is one of the more ridiculous ones. It's, and this, at first when this came out, people weren't exactly sure. They were like, maybe we're just mistranslating this, but at least right now it seems to have bbeen confirmed that you cannot transfer your save data to another Switch. And by that, I mean, say you buy a new model. Say you trade in yours for a Switch Lite or something. You can't, you can transfer over all your games and all your profiles and everything, but for some reason Animal Crossing can't. Forgive me if this ends up not being true, but that's sure what it looks like right now. Many outlets are reporting this as confirmed. You can't transfer it to a new Switch. This is very strange, and I mean, like, come on. They want people to buy new versions of Switches, you know, especially if they do end up doing another hardware model somewhere down the line. They got these special edition models. What about the Animal Crossing one, you know? Like, no. If you get a town on your Switch, that's the only town that'll ever play on that Switch, and you can never put it to another Switch, even though you can do that with every other game. Every single other game in the world, you can put it to another Switch. So that's weird. I have a... You know, there's an idea for maybe why they're doing this, but it kind of ties in with the next issue, which is, as we probably expected, no cloud backup. Nintendo, you know, we've complained about this plenty of times before, but Nintendo, you know, as a part of their Nintendo Switch online service, offers cloud backups for your saves, so if something happens to your Switch, you've still got backups. But then they choose not to use that feature on their most popular online games, the games that you spend the most hours in that you would most like to have a cloud backup. Those are the ones where they don't. And presumably, this is for the same reason we've seen for all the other reasons, all the other games that don't support it. It's that they are afraid of people manipulating their saves, creating copies, and using that to, you know, duplicate items and basically cheat the system. On paper, that's the sort of explanation that makes you go like, oh, okay, I think that makes sense. But then you think about it for another couple seconds and you realize there's a lot of problems with this. These are my problems with this. 1, this is Animal Crossing. It's not some sort of competitive, super competitive game. I cannot imagine that a whole lot of people who are even capable of enjoying Animal Crossing are going to be the type to hack the game and just try to destroy it and cheat and win, because there is no winning. So that's weird. It's weird to be scared of it for this game in particular. 2, there are other ways to deal with cheaters. This, like, just preventing this whole system, like, there are lots of different ways to identify that people are cheating and to stop them. It just takes moderation and whatnot. 3, most egregiously, this isn't a real problem. This is a problem that Nintendo invented, and it's been that way since the whole NSO thing, since the beginning of them not including the feature in their games. Other game companies include cloud saves. They just do. And they all have lots and lots and lots of online games. I don't know if you've heard, but online games are pretty popular right now, and this isn't a problem. And if it is a problem, it's not a big one. This is something that it feels like paranoia at this point. It's such a non-issue. Like, it hasn't happened yet, you know? At least let it happen. If you're afraid it's gonna happen, let it happen until it happens, and then fix something based on that. Instead, they're going way out of control, trying to prevent something that's not even a problem yet. So, if all 3 of these issues end up being true, then the complete picture is, you put Animal Crossing on your Switch, you have one town on that Switch. Unless you want to delete everything, that's the only town you'll ever have, no matter how many other family members you have sharing that Switch with you. It's the only one, and you can never transfer it to another Switch if you get a new one. And if it breaks or is damaged, you know, or is stolen, you're out of luck. You can never get your town back. There's no way, and there's no way to locally back up files, like many other platforms allow, including Nintendo's older systems. No, you can't back it up. It's sitting there on your Switch. If something happens to the Switch, or you want to get a new Switch, nope, you are just plain old out of luck. Now, it is worth noting that Nintendo has given something of a comment on this situation, saying that they are looking into allowing cloud saves of some sort. Probably because of the big backlash they've been hearing, because that's just ridiculous. This is a game you want to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours on. It's the one game out of any that I'm gonna want to back up. So they've said they're looking into it. The wording is a little weird. It almost kind of makes it sound like maybe it won't be the regular way. It might be like through some other process. We don't really know. It's very vague, and it's a maybe right now. We're not really sure. That would definitely be great if they did, obviously. That would make this better. It wouldn't make it perfect. It wouldn't fix anything, but it would certainly make it at least a little better, even though they did specify, as always, it's going to be a part of Nintendo Switch Online, which was already kind of a nasty thing to do. To, you know, people that want that peace of mind, and to lock it behind a paywall. I don't like that. I've never really liked that, so that's still, like I said, it's still not a really, it's not a perfect solution. The fact that Nintendo, they've come so far and they've advanced their business so much in so many ways, but then to see them just in the Stone Age when it comes to certain things like this, it's just really sad to see. It's you know, it's like in the in the refunds, the canceling pre-orders video. Like I said, they're like a really good friend you grew up with, but every once in a while they just do something really mean, and it's weird. It's weird because of how good they seem all the rest of the time, and that's where we're at right now. This whole save system they've put in place for this game is just, it is archaic. It is paranoid, and it's extremely, extremely anti-consumer. It's the epitome of the anti-consumer move. There's something that people are going to want to do, and Nintendo says, no, you do not get the convenience. You actually get less convenience than you would with a regular game, despite even wanting it more. And it's absurd. It damages their brand. I know at the end of the day, they're gonna survive, obviously. People are gonna buy this game, and it's gonna be great, but, like, that still doesn't mean it's a good idea. You know, sometimes they'll do something like this, and we kind of roll our eyes, and we go, well, Nintendo got a Nintendo, right? I don't know, but ones like this, it just takes it a little too far. It's borderlining on actually unprofessional because of just how bad, the bad light that it casts your company in. Like, anything that's going to lead to a lot of crying kids, like, that's the kind of thing where you know you've gone too far, you know? I mean, like, it's not gonna be like gnashing of teeth in the streets or anything, but like, this is gonna inconvenience people. There are going to be kids out there that don't really know what they're getting into. They're gonna break their Switches or something, or they're gonna want a new Switch, and it's not gonna work, and they're gonna be like, why doesn't this work? And their parents are gonna get really angry about it, and their parents are gonna be like, why does this have to be confusing? And that's gonna make them, that might even make them reconsider buying Nintendo products in the future. I know this kind of parent game system relationship can be very, very delicate sometimes. You need to make, I mean, that's what pro-consumer is. Things that make it easy for the consumer, that make them happy with their purchase and their experience. But this is just kind of, hey, we're doing it this way. We're taking away these options from you just because we have some reasons. We maybe don't have some reasons. I don't know. It's just the way we're doing it, and you gotta live with it. So I don't know. Maybe they will end up going back on the cloud save thing, offering us something. And I don't know. Maybe they'll go back on others. Maybe some of this will end up not being true. If anything ends up changing, I'll be sure to you know, offer an update on the situation in my full review. But in the meantime, I can say, no, sir, I don't like it. This is too controlling, too behind the times, too anti-consumer. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's creating a problem for no good reason. And it's not a good look for Nintendo. Nintendo, buddy, I love you, man. Give me a hug, but you gotta stop with this save nonsense. You gotta just let us do what we want with our video games. Give us the options afforded to us by every single other company in the industry. But let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will catch all of you on the flippy floppy. I'm still really excited for Animal Crossing. I really am, though. What about all this stuff? I'm still super excited. Are you excited? Man, I'm excited. Looks so good.